Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Campus Consortium's grant webinar featuring $60,000 single sign-on grant award winner, Illinois College. In today's presentation, Patrick Brown will share his journey on how Illinois College utilized this grant and how you can apply for a similar grant. Our presenters include Mr. Patrick Brown, Chief Information Officer for Illinois College, and Mr. Vincent Lamba, Vice President, Community Engagement at Campus Consortium. We will take questions at the end of today's presentation that have been typed into the chat box or questions pane in your GoToWebinar control panel. Without further ado, please allow me to present Mr. Lamba and Mr. Brown. Over to you, Vincent.
All right, warm welcome to everyone who's joined us here today for the webinar. It's approximately 2 p.m. here in Cleveland, Ohio. We're looking to go ahead and talk about how Illinois College utilized their grant and took single sign-on project live. So apart from talking about how, apart from that, we will also be giving you a brief on the grant program and how you can apply for the grant. For those, for those who have joined this seminar for the first time, I would like to begin with talking a little bit about Campus Consortium, right? So to give you a little introduction to who we are a non-profit institution or a company that unites approximately 37,000 institutions globally. We were founded back in 2003 by 14 universities, including University of Montana and Case Western Reserve University. We have scaled from then 2,000 member institutions to now 37,000 institutions worldwide. Our mission is to reduce cost of education throughout the world by offering these technology grants. Here are some of the award winners. Average University won the grant for cloud hosting and O365 migration. Benedictine University won the grant for after-hours help desk services. Dakota Wesleyan won the grant for campus safety app. And again, some of the winners from 2018, as you can see. Okay, so these are some of the recent winners. Now, today we are running single sign-on and identity grant. Of course, we will also talk about the single sign-on grant in details as I pass on the platform to Patrick. But just to let you know, the grant covers approximately $91,500 over a period of 5 years. What you get with the grant is 100 active user licenses and implementation cost. You also get 3 single sign-on applets, which of course comes with a free implementation. The qualification criteria is basically a grant committee needs to see that you are totally committed to the solution and you want to contribute in whichever way to the student community, and the other criteria really is to see that the institution or public that you're an education institution or a public sector organization. All right, so at this point now, I'm going to take a moment to talk about Patrick. Patrick provides leadership in developing technology plans to achieve Illinois College's strategic goals, and especially to enhance student success through technology. Being an expert with tons of experience, he assesses and anticipates technology trends, providing the campus community with information needed to make strategic decisions. Since Patrick takes responsibility for successful implementation of technological systems and equipment, he's here to walk us through his journey and talk more on how Illinois College utilized the grant. Patrick, I want to do a quick audio test to make sure you can hear me.
Yes, thank you, Vincent.
Great. Patrick, over to you from here on. Thank you.
Great. Well, thank you, Vincent. I'd just like to start by just telling everyone a little bit about Illinois College. If you want to go to the next slide.
Yes, Patrick. Go ahead.
There we go.
Yeah.
So we are a small private liberal arts college. We were founded in 1829. We were the first college in Illinois to actually host classes, and we are a non-for-profit. We're right around 1,000 students, as it says here. We use Jenzabar as our ERP system, Moodle for our LMS, and our email is now completely through Gmail. We were Exchange in the past, so we've been through that migration. So we have a good college, a good basis here, and a lot of tradition. But some of the things that technology, I guess, has not traditionally been at the forefront. That's something that I've really been pushing forward. And this opportunity that we had with this grant is a great example of that, to actually give our students and faculty something that is useful to them on a daily basis, to get to, the software, the resources that we provide in an easy way. So you want to go to the next slide. One of the things that happened shortly after we implemented this new single sign-on portal was that our Student Senate, which is a great representation of our student body here on campus, actually took to their Facebook page and made this post. Says, this campus needs an online platform so I can access everything I need as a student. IT cracks knuckles, we got this. Do you know about login.ic.edu? Try it out. So that was extremely exciting for us to see that Senate went out there. They noticed what we were doing, and we do meet with Student Senate once a month. We try to be in close touch with our student body, make sure that we're doing things that that they see as useful, and share ideas, and really try to make sure students have what they need. So for them to recognize that we did this and that the students were really excited about it was a great thing for us. And we could see it in the numbers as well. So if you want to go to the next slide, we could talk about, we'll back up a little bit and sort of talk about what we were doing before we found out about the grant. And yeah, next slide, please. We started with Active Directory Federated Services. We have a Microsoft agreement on campus, so we had access to that, and we built that server and that infrastructure ourselves. But part of the problem with just having ADFS is that there's no easy way to present all the software that you've integrated. You could put a page up with links and that sort of thing, but we're also having difficulty getting some of the software platforms integrated to truly work single sign-on with ADFS. So JICS, which is the web portal, we call it Connect 2 here at Illinois College, but those of you that have Jenzabar will recognize that term. We didn't have a true SSO with that, so people were using their ID number and PIN. And I should mention that the platform that we're using is a Jenzabar partner. So if you do have Jenzabar, those applications will all integrate nicely as well. So basically, if you're in this situation, all of your users are keeping track of multiple logins. What's my password for this? What's my password for that? How am I keeping track of it? Is it secure, or do I just have a piece of paper laying on my desk, hidden under my keyboard, stuck in a shoe somewhere? It's crazy all the different things people do to try to keep track of these things, and then more often than not they forget, and then they're calling your help desk, your service desk, and getting those passwords reset. It's a lot of time, frustration on the user side and on the service desk side as well. So we wanted to eliminate that, of course, and also we have a sort of an interesting integration here between our JICS and Moodle, where basically all the courses that are in our ERP system are loaded automatically into Moodle and populated with the correct students, and we didn't want to lose that as well. So that was something that we had top of mind. Next slide, please. We also wanted to make it sort of transparent, as we had started sort of having people sign in. They were used to seeing as we were getting more things integrated with single sign-on through ADFS, they were used to seeing that login page pop up, and it's got, you know, a picture of our building, and it's Illinois College, and you can tell. So we didn't want to lose our branding, and we didn't really want it to be well known immediately that, you know, you were going somewhere else to log in. So not that we didn't want to be transparent, but wanted to make sure that people felt secure. And so the solution also provided that, as I'll show you later. Also, you know, we wanted to make sure that we had our critical applications in there right off the bat. So before we launched, you know, JICS had to be there. We use eRezLife for housing, Moodle, TMS for tuition management systems, Lynda, Terra Dotta, which is for study abroad, and Echo 360. I'm sure many of you use that for lecture capture and for active learning. We also have a Adobe Creative Cloud agreement for campus. We use Jenzabar and Gmail. So, and that's just a few. We've added many since then. Again, I'll show you that later on. Next slide, please. So as you can see here, Campus Consortium was a great partner for us. We went through the grant process that they're talking about today. We were awarded the grant, and so for us being a small, like I said, small liberal arts college, we have sort of a budget that matches that, right? It's you know, we do as much as we can with the budget we have, just like everybody else does. So to be able to get a grant that would make this an affordable thing for us to do and to provide to our faculty, staff, and students was great. So we got through that process. We were able to work with QuickLaunch, as it says here, as our technology partner. They are a Jenzabar partner, as I said. They can also work with other ERP systems such as Banner. I know for sure they've got all that built. But anyway, so to have that in place, to be able to do something that we can afford and move forward was a great thing. And also National Student Clearinghouse is coming. That's something that we are looking forward to getting that integrated with our registrar's office as well. Next slide, please. Oh, something from the last one. Yeah, we're doing like 5,500 interactions a year. So we are using it, and our students, it started out, you know, with 200 or something after the first couple months. That social media post that I showed you earlier about doubled the amount of students that were using it. And now, as we've been through a couple more incoming classes and we get in front of them and we talk to them about, this is what you can use, you use this every day. You know, now we have somewhere around 90% of our student body in there using it all the time. So that's great. I mean, that's what you want. You want to invest in something that the students, that your customers are going to use. So to talk about this is our, like I said, our pre-login page. This is the page that people were used to seeing. This hasn't changed. This is the first thing they see. So for them, you know, we set it up so it's login.ic.edu. They go here, they see the page they've always been familiar with. They use the same credentials that they use to sign into their computer every day, and then life is good. If you want to go to the next slide. So after logging in, they get a nice screen with a wall of icons for different systems that they can now access, most of which are in here as a single sign-on integrated application. So basically they can just click on that button and be launched right into whatever they need to do next. So for everyone, you know, that works here and students taking classes, you know, this is where they start their day. So if you want to pass me control, I'd be happy to show everyone sort of a live example of what that looks like in our environment. Great. If you could just confirm you can see this. See my screen now?
Hey, Patrick, you can. Thank you.
Great. So as you saw on the slide, this is login.ic.edu. Login.ic.edu brings you here. We have a couple of, you know, additional notes here for incoming students. You know, as our admission office wants to stay in close contact with them, sort of list their phone number, email right here. For everybody that's used to using this, they pay no attention. If you're a new student and you're having trouble, it's, you know, important to us that they see what they need to do next right here. So That's the reason for that. As I come in here, you can see, we're down to a second page, but one of the great things is I don't have to scroll down to the bottom to find Zoom, for example, even though it starts with the letter Z. I can just type it in. You can see how quickly the search narrows things down. I want to pull up Office, Name Coach, etc. So that is a great tool. That's something we show. I'll also show you that this is very mobile friendly. So you can see as I change the size of the page. So that's obviously very important to everyone as well. So many people are just utilizing their mobile devices. So you want something that's going to adapt to whatever the screen size is, and this platform does provide that as well. So these were the sort of things, again, that we could not do just with ADFS out of the box. So to give you an example, all of us are focused on retention. We want to know if, for example, a student is having an issue, whether it's with grades or attendance, or just, somebody finds out something's going on and that, we feel like we need to interact with that student to make sure everything's okay. We have a system built into our JICS where faculty, staff, even other students can go in and submit early alerts. And one of the issues with that and just leaving it kind of where it is you have to know where to go, right? So I log into what we call Connect to. Great, that takes me here. So now where do I go to submit an early alert? I know that's what I want to do. I can try to use the search, but again, so you can do things like that where you're actually having a button that's a deep link within another system. So this is a deep link within that Connect to system, which is going to take them right to that page. And this was a very important thing, as it is to everyone, to make sure that our retention is good, and we do whatever we can to keep it that way. So name it alerts. It shows up right at the top. The icon's got a big exclamation point. And this, since we've put this in place, we didn't actually have this in place at the beginning. Since we put it in place, we nearly doubled our early alerts, or the submissions that people have submitted here. And I think just simply because we made it easy to find on a platform that they are logging into every day right at the top. So again, as you can see, that worked no problem. I clicked, I'm in, I'm logged in as me, I'm ready to submit that alert. Same thing here. This is sort of just a form that's built within our web platform, but it's a nice thing. If somebody, you work with somebody on a project or whatever, and you want to submit an ad away, they get a nice recognition letter and from our HR department, and they get some candy or whatever comes with it that day. But again, where is it when I get into Connect to? They got to know where to click. They click on the staff tab, and then it's down. And so those are just a couple where we've integrated within Connect to and went deeper in. Career Link is a place where students can go out and search for internships. And also, full-time jobs upon graduation. So as you can see, that logged me right in. Welcome, Patrick. If I'm a student, this is certainly more useful. Faculty members, though, and alumni can actually go out and post opportunities for students there. Our virtual bookstore program will work for students. So they can go in and see what's their books and what's going to be available for them to pick up, when they need to return it, etc. I think mine is actually not working on here. Mine is not working on here, but I do check with all the students and ensure that we have student workers here and ensure that that's working. Echo 360 again takes me right to the main portal page. You can see here I can jump right in here and start managing my Echo system. Employee discounts, again, just another deep link to go right to that page, something that people actually care about and they're going to click on. EMS is something we're working on. That's link only right now. eRezLife, which is where our students are going to go in and select their housing, which is very important to them as a new student to get their room picked out. We use KnowBe4 to do phishing campaigns for campus, make sure that our users are aware, and then they can go in here and take training. Lynda.com. So, again, more professional development, they can do training. We have SharePoint through Office 365. And as you can see here, you can also have, so like I have multi-factor set up through Microsoft. So it does work with that. I just have to also do this second level of multi-factor and hit a button on my phone, and then that is approved and I'm in. So again, if you have a SharePoint page of any kind set up in Office 365, you can also go directly to that logged in. And I started with an incognito tab of Chrome just to be sure that, you know, I'm showing you the experience of somebody who's never logged into a computer before. So again, this is Office 365 if you just wanted to go to the main page. And again, I just have to approve that. And, you know, a lot of things in here. Submit a work order for School Dude. Scholar Buys is, so this is actually very useful for people that had, again, a separate login that nobody knew, and they had to remember a building ID or a campus ID that nobody knew, and they had to look it up, or they had to make a phone call to facilities. So this has streamlined that quite a bit. Scholar Buys is basically our partner for Microsoft and some other software. If you're a faculty member, you used to have to submit your college ID through the email back and forth to prove that you really worked here and all that before you could get these discounts. Now, with the single sign-on platform, I want to buy a copy of Windows 10 for home on an old machine maybe that's running Vista. Just as an example, I know a couple of people have done that recently. So for $20, they can go out here and buy it. They don't have to deal with their submitting their, you know, employee IDs or any of that anymore. Because of single sign-on, it recognizes who they are. They can just simply go out there and buy it, and they're done. Terra Dotta, that is, again, our study abroad breakaway. Again, that's something I'm not set up in because I'm not a student or faculty member. You can see that it does say I have a valid ID, but I'm not set up in the system, which is fine. I don't need any more systems to take care of. And then Zoom, which is something we just got for video conferencing, very useful to just be able to click on that button and be in and ready to schedule your next event. So that is, that's the basics of everything as far as what we can do. I did want to point out one other thing, I guess. Let me just start over here with a new incognito window again. I wanted to show you that you can actually change what people see. So for example, if you have roles set up in Active Directory, that's the way we do it. So if a person is, or groups rather, so if you're in the student group, for example, you're going to get a different set of applications than faculty and staff would get, which makes sense. So I just want to log in as a test student account so I can show you just a couple things that are different. So a lot of these icons you've already seen, but one of the things that students need to do, for example, is complete a Haven and Alcohol EDU course every year. So there's a button for that. We do want our students to pay. I think we all want that. So the link to the IC payment portal is right here. Again, this is a test account. It's not actually set up, but just to show you this, the difference here. So wire payments, meal plan balance, which the students loved when we put that out there. Again, that was a deep link to that Connect 2 system, but to have it right there as a button is great for the students. Name coach, which I should have pointed out earlier. I'll go back in and show you that as me, but students can go and record their name, and then professors and staff that are working with them can go in and listen to the name. They know that, you know, they've hired the student, or they know the student's going to be in their class, and make sure that they pronounce their name correctly, which is really important to us, and to make sure, and vice versa. So we're actually encouraging all our faculty and staff to also go and record their names. And this button is single sign-on to one page where you can go and find anyone's name and listen to the recording of it and make sure you have it right. And then OmniAlert is important for students who are going to sign up for emergency alerts, and their online time card if they're a student worker, etc. Go back and show you that name coach real quick. be easier if I just did this. Yep. So again, Name Coach will take you to a page where you can pull up everybody that's recorded their name, you can listen to that name, and you can make sure that you're saying it correctly. We started with this at graduation time, make sure that all the names are pronounced correctly at graduation, but actually it's something that we wanted to have available all the time, which is why we integrated it to our single sign-on portal. And then PaperCut, which is not something, this one was actually pretty important because if you have PaperCut and if you ever looked at their single sign-on documentation, it's pretty complicated as far as what they want you to do, and setting up another whole single sign-on system basically just to work with them. And QuickLaunch, our partner on this grant, was great about finding their own way to integrate this and make it work, and that's been huge for our students, as everyone really, as we didn't want them to have to know where to go to get to PaperCut, type in printserver.ic.edu or find the link and then log in. So again, one of those things that's really great to have integrated with single sign-on, so that they can go in and do all the things they need to do to be successful. I think that's basically it as far as from a demo perspective from me. If you want to go to take control back and go to the next slide.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll got one more slide. There you go.
Yeah, so this is just a screenshot. Again, I don't want to get into all this. I went into quite a bit of detail there but it does give you analytics, which are great. So you can see top 5 apps that people are using, the bottom 5 apps, so you can know what you need to adjust. Maybe there's some applications that should go at the bottom, or maybe they don't need to be there anymore. And it's great to know the ones that people are clicking on all the time. You can see that it grows over time. This was an old screenshot from last year, but you can see that people are actually using the portal in general, and you can also go in here and make changes to your existing and create new integrations as well. So great to have those, as we always want to validate that what we're doing is successful and useful to our constituents. Questions?
All right. At this point, firstly, thank you, Patrick. We will now take questions. And of course, we do have lines open as well. So if anyone wants to ask questions, can ask questions. I see a question coming through our question panel, and the question is, so Patrick, this is Jeff from Limestone College, and he's asking about prerequisites. So he's saying, are there any prerequisites that were required for this implementation? For example, how do they know about the compatibility of an application? They say they're using Koha for library. They want that single signed-on, and they're also using something called Populi. How do they know that application is compatible with the solution? Would you know that?
We actually have, and that's something. Now that question has come up, we had worked on something with our library as well for the Illinois system, and that is, we got that tested and ready to go back in April, and I believe they were wanting to go live in June, so I need to follow up with them. But basically, any application that you would like to see integrated, you just need to follow up with that vendor and ask them, do you have any single sign-on capability? If they are able to do it, whether it's with CAS or SAML, or any of the, like Shibboleth, for example, basically any of those 3, our partner on this through the consortium QuickLaunch, they were able to integrate with any of those 3. So basically, as long as the vendor that you're working with has a way to do single sign-on, QuickLaunch will help you get there. They'll make it happen, and they can use any of those platforms. We do have, so for example, like Adobe is a little bit, they're not quite all the way there. They will allow you to do single sign-on, but you have to go to adobe.com first. So our button in the single sign-on portal, which I should have showed you that, when you click on the Adobe link, it takes you to their login. You put in your Illinois College ID. So for me, you know, patrick.brown@ic.edu, and then it redirects you to our single sign-on portal and you're in. So they don't do what's called IDP initiated single sign-on yet. They keep saying that it's coming. So you might run into some things like that, but always just, you know, reach out to them. We found, you know, every time that we want to integrate something new, we reach out to the vendor, and it's top of mind for them too. But most of them have something ready to go, and they're ready to integrate with you through one of those three methods. I don't know specifically about the two that you mentioned, but I would check with them and see.
Sure. Thank you, Patrick. Yeah, and I hope that answers your question, Jeff. There's another one around your team that is working with the single sign-on team. So can you describe, you know, what is the size of the team that is working, you know, with the technology partners, and you know, who are the key players from your side? And what is the dependency in terms of, you know, what is the requirement from your end that you know, the single sign-on team needed from you?
So we leveraged our existing infrastructure, but I do know that QuickLaunch, for example, will work with whatever you have. So for example, we have Active Directory. We already had ADFS. You don't actually have to have either one of those in place already, but so from our side, we basically had me involved because I'm the CIO, but I'm also still in charge of servers and infrastructure. And then we had our network administrator, and we had our user services manager. So because of her involvement with Active Directory, and we needed to, of course, whitelist a lot of different IP addresses as we worked with QuickLaunch. So we had to have our network administrator involved. And really, from my perspective of just being involved, because I was the one that had set up all those integrations with ADFS in the past. But I do know they sort of leave that as an option for you, and they will certainly teach you like to use their platform, so you don't have to have an existing single sign-on at all. They'll build it all for you. And we're actually looking at it with them right now to have them host everything. You know, just like any other cloud type solution, the more that you can, especially for us being a really small staff, so our total staff is 8 people. So the more things that we can have someone else take care of, and you know, so for QuickLaunch, if they're going to run our authentication, and we don't have to have the 3 servers up and running in our VMware environment for ADFS anymore, you know, that could be a major benefit to us. So I hope that that covers the question.
Thank you, Patrick. Yeah, and if you get a confirmation, we'll let you know. There's another question from Jonathan, and Jonathan is from Montebello Community College School District, and he's asking, is the grant only meant for higher ed, or is it can apply for K-12 as well? I can take that. Jonathan, the grant is for everybody, higher ed and K-12. You know, there's no discrimination. You can, you know, go ahead and apply for the grant. You know, we have a lot of K-12 institutions who we are providing campus safety app to, you know, the Blue Light app. And there are a lot of our clients also using, you know, using us for, or our technology partners for after-hours services. You know, students want to call after 5 p.m. or on weekends and holidays. So there are a lot of grants for various services. And yes, feel free to apply for, you know, any grant that you think will fit the bill for you. And I hope that answers your question. There's a question coming in from Antoine. He's asking about timelines, Patrick. So he's saying, you know, how long was the process, you know, and how long did it take from the time you awarded the grant to, say, executing the whole, you know, solution? So if you can probably talk a little bit about the milestones and timeline, Patrick.
Yeah, that's a great question. It's been almost 2 years ago now that we went through the process. It was, in my opinion, really quick. From what I remember, we were awarded the grants in maybe October of 2016. We were put in touch really quickly with QuickLaunch. We started to have weekly meetings. We launched in before the semester started in January. So really just within a matter of 2 to 3 months, we went from being awarded the grant to launching our single sign-on portal. And part of that is, hopefully most of you have, some winter break in there. And, so there was been Thanksgiving and things. So we had some holidays involved. We had some time where nobody was here to actually work with them. So certainly we were part of, slowing down the process a little bit. And I will say, even to this day, so they've been a good partner for us. They answer the phone immediately if you need something. They respond to email quickly. Their ticketing system works well, so their service and support is great, and that has not changed since launch, which is really, really important. I know for every solution that we want to get. So can't say enough about that. The whole process has been great, and every time that we've wanted to add something new, they've been right there to help.
Thank you. Thank you, Patrick. I just want to add to what you said. And from grant standpoint, it takes anything between 3 to 4 weeks to get the whole grant process covered. So from the time you apply for the grant application, the next step is that we put one of us account managers will get in touch with you, set up a qualification call. We'll do a quick scoping, understand your environment, then do a quick demo with our technology partner. Show you the solution, send you a discovery document so we understand your environment, something that Patrick was talking about. There's some third-party applications. Our team would like to see the URL to see if that's, that works with our applications or not. And once that is done, then, and you're happy with what you've seen, we then schedule, a pricing or a scope finalization call, and where we'll include the project plan and walk you through the various phases. Once that is done, we share a contract agreement with you. Once we receive the signatures from your team, and of course we sign it too, then we do a transition to QuickLaunch team. We'll set up a kickoff meeting. That kickoff meeting will introduce both the parties, and we will send over some documents that we would need completed from your end. Once that's done, of course, then there's about another 2 to 3 weeks before you go live. So from the time you get in touch with us to the time you go live, it can be anything between 4 to 6 weeks. Okay, I hope that answers your question, and I would like to just take a moment to thank Patrick. Patrick, thank you for answering all the questions. Jeff and Antoine and everybody listening in who asked questions. I hope we've answered the questions to your satisfaction. Okay, just before we call this a wrap, Patrick, I'll take a couple of minutes to go over my last slides about Campus Consortium, so so everybody here understands what is the process. We have early bird grant that we are running right now, and this is, as you can see, the single sign-on and identity grant. This of course will be implemented and delivered by our technology partners called QuickLaunch and Unified. The cumulative grant award reward is $91,500. You can also download the mobile campus grant if you like from the link below, and this of course covers 3 single sign-on applets and 100 active sessions. So the consortium partly funds this project, and of course if you have more than 100 active sessions that you need, then there's a separate cost to that. apart from that, these are some of the grants that we are running right now, and you can apply for these. You can visit our website. You can also send us, you can send us a request, and I'll share that email ID with you. But just to give you a little brief on these grants, Mobile Campus Grant, of course, is a grant that we are running till June 18th. So you have, you still have about a few days. We have received a lot of applications. What we do is we will work with you to get about 20 applets implemented for $0. This is absolutely free, and you will get 14 applets, which are native, and about 6 authenticated apps that can work with your, with your ERP and your LMS. You can have your students check grades online. Check grades and check, classroom availability. Those are some of the apps that come along as a part of this grant. There's a campus portal grant. We're running till June 18th. This is 50% funded by the consortium. So, of course, we will give you the WCMS along with the custom branding and also the hosting. We have our own our technology partner has their own local data center. If you need an enterprise solution or a standard portal, they will scope it out and see whether you need a 3-node architecture or a 7-node architecture, and whatever that is, they will provide that to you. And whatever the total cost is, the consortium will fund about 50% of that. The last one we're running is the after hours. This is fairly straightforward. What we do is, as a consortium will give you, again, 50% of this funding. There's a per interaction cost on how many calls our agents can handle in after hours, which is in the evenings, holidays, and weekends. If you want about 2,000 calls to be handled for your IT issues, LMS issues, students are calling in, they can't upload a test, or they can't access some assignment, they need help in the evening, they can call in. Our agents can pick up the phone and address those interactions. There's an interaction cost which is, globally it's about $12 to $13, and our staff is based out of Cleveland and Chicago. Through Campus Consortium, you can avail that per interaction cost for as low as $6 to $8. So you can take total advantage of the grant. Through the grant, there's a $0 implementation cost, and it also covers the client ticketing system. So if you're using, say, Footprints or using School Dude or what have you, we will train our agents to use that ticketing system, but there's no cost. That is if you apply for the grant and you're awarded. That's it. And some of the other grants we're running are, of course, cloud hosting, password manager, MFA, campus safety. I spoke about that. Office 365 migration, and attendance tracking grant as well. So these are the ones that are coming soon. Just want to give put 2 lines on that, and that's pretty much it. So if you want to apply, you can visit our website at campusconsortium.org, or simply submit your grant application at grantapplication@campusconsortium.org. You will receive this deck in the form of an email after the session is concluded. If you have any questions or you want to connect with Patrick, you can simply send us an email at info@campusconsortium.org. Once again, thank you to our audience. Have a great rest of the day, everyone. And special thank you to Patrick. You've been awesome and wonderful as always. Thank you for your time. And this is Vincent on behalf of Campus Consortium signing off. Thank you.